And welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share my review of Twilight 2000, The Black Madonna from Free League Publishing. This is written by Frank Frey and Chris Keeling with artwork provided by Jarek Kubicki and Nicholas Brandt. I apologize if I've mispronounced any of those names. This box set is available now. It carries an MSRP of $39.99. You can get the PDF absolutely free if you order that box set from Free League Publishing. Or if you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so for $19.99 over at DriveThruRPG. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Black Madonna for Twilight 2000. Before we get stuck in, a few things I do want to mention. First of all, my friends over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book inside the box set, but I do want to give you a really good feel for what you're going to find inside the Black Madonna. Then lastly, the book is full of adventure plot lines, especially the one concerning the Black Madonna. So if you're a player and your game master has picked up the Black Madonna, they just haven't started running it, or maybe they're talking about picking this up, by all means, I certainly recommend tune out now. You don't want any of the surprises ruined simply because you watched this video. And there are some major spoilers I sort of have to reveal in order to provide a review for this. Now, of course, if your game master is thinking about picking this up, let them know about the video so they can approach the Black Madonna and make a far more informed buying decision. All right, so let's talk about what's inside. First of all, we get 16 new encountered cards. And as always, the encounters are pretty cool. They're not all combat related. And as far as your encounter deck, as the game master, you can seed the deck towards encounters that you want to see take place. Maybe you want to see more NATO related events or former Soviet forces events. You can seed that. And of course, you've got plenty of other encounter cards from the core sets and the other two expansions that have come out so far for Twilight 2000. We also get this little diary, which has to do with the Black Madonna plot line. I thought that was kind of cool for the players to take a peek through. Strangely enough, we don't have the Black Madonna. We don't have a handout of the Black Madonna, which I thought was kind of strange. Even if they had tossed it onto a card, that'd have been pretty cool. But like I said, weirdly enough, we don't have any image of it. We do have some battle maps. We don't have any poster maps, but we do have these battle maps. They are dual-sided and, of course, pretty nice card stock. These will hold up pretty nicely. We don't have any new counters or anything like that. I was a little surprised. And I got to be really honest. The two expansions that came out at the same time for Twilight 2000 are Hostile Waters and the Black Madonna. They both carry the same MSRP, but you actually get quite a bit more with Hostile Waters. We got counters for ships and boats. We got a poster map. We got more adventure maps or battle maps. We had new rules. The page count of the book that came with it is about 30 pages more than this. So strangely enough, I was kind of surprised that this has a $39.99 MSRP. I would have thought maybe it'd be $34.99. Just a quibble. It's not a major thing, but I do want to float that out. So let's dive on into the Black Madonna. So we get a new area that the player characters are going to adventure in, and that is going to be a southern section of Poland. So, as far as the two default settings that we currently have for Twilight 2000 4th edition, Poland and Sweden, this is only set in Poland because the Black Madonna storyline really is tied into the Polish people. So, as far as utilizing the Swedish default setting, it wouldn't have as much impact. So, we do get some new rules about minefields. We get some new weapons. They are Polish weapons. And then we start getting into the Silesia region of Poland. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. So that's where this is going to take place. Most of the plot line is devoted to the Black Madonna, but we do also have other plot lines going on. So we'll get a breakdown of our encounters that come from those encounter cards. And once again, pretty cool. Definitely like them. And once again, it's not only going to be combat encounters. Then we're going to move in and we're going to learn about some new factions as far as Silesia. So we do have some militia forces. We've got U.S. Armored Cavalry. We have the Soviet Special Signals Detachment. So pretty cool. I like that. I also like that we get a history about the Black Madonna. And the Black Madonna is a painting, if you're not overly familiar with it. And I really like how we get a real breakdown of why the Black Madonna is important to the Polish people and, in particular, Catholics. So I like the whole premise of this adventure. Now, of course, keep in mind, the Black Madonna is an adventure that originally came out for first edition Twilight 2000. In fact, Frank Frey is the original author. I like the fact that we have Frank Frey working on this as well alongside Chris Keeling. I thought that was cool. But do want to keep in mind that this is another first edition adventure that has been reworked for fourth edition Twilight 2000. And while it is a very interesting adventure, it is a bit of a rehash. But I'll be the first to point out, I am not overly familiar with the first edition adventure. So I think there's a major point in the Black Madonna for fourth edition Twilight 2000 that may not have been around in the first edition. And that is when the player characters actually locate the Black Madonna, they don't only find that, they also find Pope John Paul II. I was like, whoa. So I thought that was pretty cool. But as far as the adventures go with Twilight 2000, by now you probably already know that this is a very sandbox sort of role-playing game. It's not very linear. So we do have plot lines that we do see, like plot beats and things along those lines, but we don't have linear, this happens, then this happens, then this happens. So there's a lot going on as far as the game master having to juggle quite a few different things. I'll be the first to point out that I would personally probably have a relatively, I don't want to say difficult time, but not as easy of a time as I would like if I were running fourth edition Twilight 2000. But I sure as hell would love to play in a Twilight 2000 fourth edition campaign because I really do like this fourth edition of Twilight 2000. But I will point out once again, and I kind of sound a little bit like a broken record, especially if you just recently watched my review of Hostile Waters, I am really surprised that we have yet to see Free League Publishing really break away from the original storylines of first edition Twilight 2000. Yes, this uses a different rule system, obviously enough. And there are tweaks and additions to those adventures. But there's a lot that's kind of being rehashed for this fourth edition. And I know there are people out there who kind of take issue with it. And I can certainly see why. I would love to see more original content that we've never seen before with fourth edition Twilight 2000. I should point out, though, and I mentioned this in my review for Hostile Waters, I don't think there's a military consultant working with Freely Publishing. It's not as obvious with the Black Madonna as it was with Hostile Waters. So I'm glad to see that. It wasn't a big deal, just some odd things that just kind of stuck out a little bit like a sore thumb that I don't really see in the Black Madonna. All right, so that is what we'll find inside the box set for the Black Madonna for Twilight 2000 4th edition. Let's swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts and give this a review score. So I do like the Black Madonna. I think the storyline is pretty cool. I do like the way that the adventure plotline is laid out. I will mention, though, it is entirely possible, even if the player characters set off to find the Black Madonna, which they don't necessarily have to, but they do find that diary, leading them to believe that the Black Madonna was not destroyed in a nuclear strike, that it was somehow saved, and it could be extremely valuable. A lot of different factions, but they can still take a pass on going through that entire plot line. Also, when they get close to the Black Madonna, it all depends on how the players approach the specific village and the villagers. If they don't approach it the right way, they will never find out that the Black Madonna and the Pope are actually well within their grasp. I thought that was a little unusual because, of course, this is a post apocalyptic military themed game. Doesn't necessarily mean that the player characters are all going to be goody two shoes. Just pointing that out. But I do like this quite a bit. I certainly do recommend it. Like I said, I am kind of surprised it carries the same MSRP as Hostile Waters, and there's far less in the box set than in that expansion. But all in all, I certainly do recommend the Black Madonna, and I find that the adventure plot lines, including the main one, to be pretty interesting. So, on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Twilight 2000, the Black Madonna, a 7 out of 10. All right, that's it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.